Okay, I think we're live on Facebook. Thank you, Mandy. And I'm going to flip around my camera. It'd be really low. Yeah. Okay, 1 second. Just gonna block the camera for a second. Which one? What do you need? Where are they?
Those boxes on the right next to the
These?
yeah,
All of them? The whole pile? Alright. There you go. Okay, can you see if you can see? Alright, before I mute everyone, can you see me? Hey, hi everyone in Facebook land. Hi everyone in Zoom land. We're just going to mute everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Huh? What? Sorry. Mute it a little bit. Muted? Alright. Good morning everyone and welcome to my kitchen. It's not really my kitchen, it's Rifki's kitchen. The only time I walk in here is maybe to load the dishwasher and empty it, but this is Rifki's domain and I'm honored to be here with you today, and we're going to get ready for which holiday is coming up, which Chag is coming up. That's right, it's going to be Pesach next Wednesday night. Now, there's a few things we need to do. First, if you're going to do the activity with me today and bake the matzah, I need you to, or mum or dad, or bubu or zayda, whoever's with you today, to go over to your oven and to crank it up to high heat, as hot as you can get it, because we're going to need it very soon. So I'm going to turn on my oven, and it might make a little bit of a sound, but I think you'll be able to hear me. Mine's on 250. That's really, really hot. I'll just give everyone a chance to turn on their oven if they want. And I've put mine on fan force top grill. That might work. Alright, everybody ready? Our ovens are on and they're really hot, so we have to be really careful because hot ovens can be really dangerous and we need an adult to make sure everything is safe in the home. So, next week is going to be Pesach. Pesach is such a beautiful holiday. And what happened on Pesach? Who knows some of the story? Well, on Pesach, before Pesach I should say, over 3,000 years ago, the Jewish people, our people, were slaves in a place called Egypt. That's right. And we had to work really, really, really hard. And the people in charge of us were really, really, really mean and cruel. And the name of the king was Pharaoh or Paro. And he and his people made the Jewish people work so hard. And they didn't let us rest. And we had to build. And we had to make bricks. And we had to dig holes. And we had to schlep. And they didn't have any mercy on us. They just made us work, work, work. Do you think that's a nice thing? It's not a nice thing. It's not a nice thing to boss people about and tell them to work, 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 and not give them any reward and not give them any rest, but just work the whole time. And that's really, really not nice. Anyway, to cut a very long story short, some great miracles happened. There were the 10 plagues, which maybe you can discuss with your family at your Seder. And at the end of the 10 plagues, the Jewish people were free. Paro said, out you go, we don't want any more trouble here. And the Jewish people left Egypt, and it's called the Exodus. Now, before you go on a journey, before you go on holiday, mom or dad or your grandparents or any adult in your family or the oldest child perhaps, pack something so delicious for you to take with. Maybe a sandwich or some snacks. But guess what? The Jewish people were in such a hurry to leave Egypt. all they did was they took some flour and they took some water and they mixed it together and they put it on their backs and they left Egypt. And as they were walking through the really, really, really hot sun of the desert, the matzah, the flour and the water on their backs, was baking. And it baked into these thin crackers. And ever since then, boys and girls, we have been eating those very same thin crackers every single year on the anniversary of the leaving of Egypt, of Yetziat Mitzrayim. So that is why we eat matzah, to remember this amazing story of the Jewish people leaving Egypt and the matzah baking on their backs. So, are you ready to bake matzah with me? Let's do it. It's really, really simple, but there's a few instructions that we have to take in mind. So, I'm just going to walk you through some of the process before we do it, all the steps, and then we're going to do it together, hands-on. Okay? So, the first step is when we go out to the field. Anybody got a field? And we go outside and we harvest the wheat. We harvest the wheat, and in the wheat there are little kernels. And we take those kernels and we grind them, and we grind them, and we grind them, and we grind them. What happens when we grind the wheat? What comes out? Flour. That's exactly right. Flour. So we have the flour, and then we draw some water. Drawing water means, in the old days at least, going to the well and getting water out of the well, out of the ground, or these days out of our tap, ready for making matzah. Now we've got to be very careful that the water and the flour don't mix yet, because we don't want it to become chametz. Because if flour and water touch and then the dough rises, it can become chametz, and we don't eat that on Pesach. So the process of making matzah is being very careful with what ingredients we use. In fact, there are only 2 ingredients. What are the 2 ingredients? Flour and water. We don't put in oil. We don't put in eggs. We don't put in Shule. We don't put in salt. We don't put in cocoa powder. We don't put in sesame seeds. Only flour and water. And then, once we mix the flour and water, we quickly start kneading. We knead and mix the dough so fast. In fact, in a real matzah bakery, they have 18 minutes. 18 minutes to bake the matzah. From the moment they start mixing till they take the matzah out of the oven is 18 minutes. Once they mix the matzah, then they cut the dough. Once they mix the dough, they cut the dough into little pieces, little balls, and every person gets one. And then they roll them out. Nice and thin, as round as you can do it, and it's okay if it's not so round, but as round as you can do it. And then we make holes. Do you know why we make holes? We make holes so, again, that it shouldn't rise. We don't want it to become thick like a loaf of bread or a big cake. We want it to stay thin. And the holes let the matzah bake properly while it's in the oven just for a few minutes. And then in a matzah bakery, they would let the dough hang for a minute on a big stick, and they would put it in a very hot oven like we're going to do. And then we have a beautiful, ready matzah to eat for Pesach. So here we go. You ready? Let's do this. And we're going to work quickly and carefully. The first thing we're going to do, do you have a bowl? I have a beautiful silver bowl. I'm just trying to figure out, the video's apparently not so clear. It's not focusing. Maybe press the middle of the screen. Is it focusing? It just could be the internet connection.
You're a bit blurry.
I'm a bit blurry. Alright. Can you still see me? I'm a little bit blurry apparently. Okay, all good. So, get your bowl. And I'm using a measuring cup here. Or you can use a regular cup. You can eyeball it if you want, but we're going to be quite precise this morning, and I'm going to half the recipe that we advertised. So all we're going to need is 1 cup of flour. I know flour is a bit of a hot commodity these days, so we don't want to use too much because we need it for other things. So we're going to use 1 cup of flour, 1 cup of flour and a half a cup of water. And if you see it needs a little bit more water or a little bit more flour, you can add that as well. So here we go. I'm going to open my flour and very carefully I'm going to fill up the whole cup with flour. Here we go. Dun, 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 dun. Whoa, bit of an overflow, spillage. That's okay. Alright, I've got 1 cup of flour and I'm going to put it into my bowl. You with me? So far so good? Brilliant. Now, going to go over to the sink. And you can wear gloves for this because it might get a little bit sticky. Oh, I didn't get my gloves ready, but you might. Mendy, do you want to get me gloves, please? Thanks. Alright, 1/2 cup of water. You might need to change it up a little bit with more water or more flour, but here we go. What's water in Hebrew? Mayim. Can I hear you saying mayim? Mayim. And we're going to put the mayim into the flour. How do you say flour in Hebrew? Kemach. So let's put the mayim into the kemach. Again, let's put the mayim into the kemach. Here we go. Ooh, I like that sound. Alrighty, let me just put my gloves on quickly. And we've got 18 minutes. Do you think we can do it in time? I think so. Here we go. Mums or dads or boys and girls, however you want to do this, let's mix. Let's mix and knead. Move it around nicely around the bowl. Oh, it's looking good. It's looking good. It should get nice and thick and sticky just like that. Give it a good squeeze. We don't want it to rise. And we want the water and the flour to incorporate. Oh, that's like a Martha Stewart word. We want the flour and the water to mix together. So there's no bits and pieces. Oh, perfect dough we've got today. Look at that. And it should look something like that. Freshly made. Keep on mixing. Mix. Or knead. Oh, it's hard work, but it's going to be yummy in the end. Keep on mixing. We'll give you a chance to mix. And if you're ready, give us a thumbs up. Sorry? Yeah. If it starts getting a little bit sticky, you can add a little bit more flour to your bowl, and that will help it not get so sticky. I'm going to add a little bit because mine's a little bit sticky. Very sticky, mine? Alrighty. You give me a thumbs up when you're all nice and mixed. Take your time, we've got lots of time. The 18 minutes are ticking by, but nice and slow. Mix and mix and mix. Mix and mix and mix. Guess what, everyone? We can now call you bakers, because we're baking. That's amazing. In your very own kitchen. Okay. Add a little bit more flour. And you should end up with something that looks like this. Can you see it? Nice dough with a good consistency, and it's not too sticky even, which is great. I'll give you a few minutes here, or a few seconds. What's that? Alright. While you're mixing the dough, keep on working it so it doesn't rise. We can sing a song. Some of you might know this song from the Seder. It's about the Jewish people being slaves in Egypt, but then they were free. Avadim hayinu, lepara b'Mitzrayim, Avadim hayinu, lepara b'Mitzrayim. We were slaves to Pharaoh in Egypt land. We were slaves to Pharaoh in Egypt land. But then Hashem saved us, and there were these great big miracles, and then we were free. And that's why we're eating matzah, remember? So it's a beautiful, happy holiday. And we also think about all those people in the world who are going through tough times, and we say it's not okay to put people in slavery. It's not okay to treat people badly. We've got to remember that everybody needs to be treated with respect, because every human being is somebody who's very, very special and unique. And we can't just be mean and cruel to people. We have to treat everyone equally and respectfully. So by now, I think your dough should be nice and kneaded. So what you're going to do is take a little bit of flour. Parents, you can decide how you want to do this. I don't want to mess up your kitchen for you. Pour a little bit of flour on your counter or on your mat or wherever you're working on. Spread it around to make it nice and white and floury and dusty. And this is going to make sure that the dough doesn't stick to your counter. So, that's quite a big piece of dough, so maybe break it in half. You don't need much. And put it in the flour, roll it around a little bit so it doesn't get sticky, and see if you can make a nice circle. Do you know how to do that? Make a ball. So put it in the palms of your hand and gently roll it around. Roll, roll, roll your dough, just like that. Roll it around. Doesn't have to be perfect, just like that. 1 second, just switch off my own. Okay. And once you have a nice circle, plop it back down in the middle and push it down with the palm of your hand once. And it should look like that. It's starting to look like a matzah. Put it down. Do you have a rolling pin? If you don't have a rolling pin, that's okay. You can even use your hands. Okay? If you have a rolling pin, let's go together. We ready? Roll forwards and backwards. Forwards and backwards. Then take your matzah and turn it around, because now it looks a bit like an oval. And put it in the flour again. And we're going to go forwards and backwards and forwards and backwards. Can you see it's getting thinner? And it's getting rounder, and it's beginning to look like a real matzah. Let's do that again. Forwards and backwards. Roll, roll, roll the dough gently as can be. You can make up the rest of the song, because I just made up the first part. I'll make up the first part. You make up the second part, okay? While you're rolling. Roll, roll, roll your dough gently as can be. Stretch it out and make a circle, because then it's going to start looking like a matzah. How about that? I could be a baker and a composer. Okay, is yours beginning to look something like this? Why is everybody laughing in my kitchen? Alright. How are we going, Rifki? Have we seen some dough?
Everybody's rolling.
Everybody's rolling? You can even do the other one, if you want. You can make two. Oh, mine looks a bit like a hamantash, but keep it rolling. Make it into a circle. Yeah, like that. What's that? Keep it rolling? Everyone's still rolling? Alright, give us a thumbs up when you think your matzah is nice and thin. It needs to be thin so it bakes really quickly in the oven. Now, some matzahs that you eat come in a square box. They're square matzahs, but we're making round matzahs, and they're called matzah shmura. Shmura matzahs, which are made by hand, not made by machine, and they're guarded. That means from the moment the wheat is harvested, cut off from the ground, till the moment they're mixed together, they're being watched that it doesn't come into contact with water the whole time, so we know that they're 100% perfect and ready to eat on Pesach. Are we ready to move on? Yeah? Okay, now, have you got a fork? A fork. Can you see a fork has pointy edges? Don't touch the pointy edges. But very gently, without making holes in your counter, I want you just to go dot, 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 all over your dough. Make holes. Can we poke holes together? Here we go. Poke the holes. And you'll see the shape, and it'll start looking like a matzah with lots of holes in it. Because if we don't make holes in it, guess what it will look like? What do you think it's going to look like if we don't make holes in it and put it in the oven? It will look like a pita. Yummy pita, but we don't want a pita now. Now we want matzah. So we're going to make holes in it so it doesn't rise and puff up. All right. Have you finished making gentle holes? How's it looking, guys and girls? Boys and girls, how's it looking? Mine looks something like this. Oop, how do we pick it up here? There we go. Got lots of little holes in it. Can you see? And when I'm finished, I'm going to put it over my rolling pin like they do in a real matzah bakery. Whoop! And it fell off. I don't think that happens in a real matzah bakery. Let's be careful. Alright, I've got it now. And it looks like this, ready to go in the oven. It's swinging away. I'm just going to wait for a few seconds to make sure everybody's got their matzah with lots of holes, nice and thin, and ready to go in the oven. You don't really have to have it on your rolling pin, but this is how they do it in the real matzah bakery. Rivki, you tell me when most of the people are ready to go. Alright, we're still going? Okay. How exciting is this? We're all getting together to bake matzah for Pesach. But this is just getting ready, right? It's just symbolic. Symbolic means that we're making matzah, but we're not really going to eat this matzah on Pesach. This is very similar to the matzah we're going to eat on Pesach because this has been in our kitchens which probably haven't been cleaned. My kitchen is not ready for Pesach yet. So this is just going to show us how we make matzah. So we're going to eat it before Pesach, not on Pesach because it's not really ready for Pesach. But on Pesach itself, you can eat the real deal matzah that has been made specially for Pesach. And if you need some shmura matzah, I want Mum or Dad or Bubba and Zayda to call me, and I will make sure you get some shmura matzah for your Seder. Alright, are we ready to go, Rivki? Is everybody ready to put their matzah in the oven? Okay. Now what I've got here, I've got a sheet pan and a piece of baking paper on it, because we don't want the matzah to stick. And very gently put your matzah on the pan, or on the baking sheet, whatever you're using, or on the rack. And it should look something like this. Can you see? Alright, everybody going on a pan? We're working on it? Alright. We'll just wait a second. We want everybody to be happy. And everybody to be doing the same thing at once. How cool is this, guys? We're all in different houses, and we're even in different parts of Melbourne, but we're all working together at the very same time to make matzah. And that's so beautiful, even though it's really hard for us all because we can't see our friends, and we can't even see some of our family members, but we're all together in this thinking about each other. And it's the same thing for the Seder, and it's the same thing for Shabbat. Even though people are alone, we've got to remind everyone that really we're all together and we're doing everything at the very same time. Are we ready to go? Alrighty. Over to your oven. Careful, it's going to be really hot. You can put on some hot gloves if you want. And open your oven. Oh, it's hot. And very carefully. Yeah, definitely Mum and Dad should be doing this for you or with you because it's really hot and we have to be safe. We don't want anyone to burn themselves. Alright, and carefully, without touching anything, slide it in, mums and dads, Bubbas and Zaydas, and close the oven. And what's going to happen in there? Are we checking the time? I've put it in and it's about 4 minutes to 11. So let's see how many minutes it's going to take. In a real matzah bakery, they have a stone oven with real flames, and it's really, really hot, way hotter than our ovens, and it just takes about 10 to 15 seconds to bake a real matzah. They put it in, and it bakes, and they slide it out just a few seconds later. But we don't have a real stone oven, we just have our ovens at home that are really hot, but not that hot compared to the stone oven. So we'll leave it in there for a few minutes, and you can peek inside without touching, because it's really hot. You can peek inside and you might be able to see it getting crispy around the edges or some brown spots on it, and that shows it's getting ready to bake. And because it's so thin, it will bake both sides at once. And it won't have time to rise because you made those beautiful, perfect little holes and rolled it out nice and thin. So, is your matzah in the oven? Well done, everyone. Well done. Alright, so while the matzah's in the oven, let's sing another Pesach song. I think you all know this song. The The song is called Dayenu. Do you know that one? What? Yeah, we're going to unmute everyone for this so we can sing Dayenu together. It might be a bit noisy, but I think it'll be beautiful that we can all sing Dayenu together. You ready? 3, 2, 1. Dayenu. Yenu, die. Dayenu, 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 Dayenu. That's it. Dayenu, Dayenu, Dayenu. Do you know what that song means? That song teaches us such a beautiful lesson. That means, Dayenu means it would have been enough. That everything we have in our lives, we've got to stop and say, thank you, Hashem, or thank you, Mum and Dad, or thank you, Bubba and Zayda, because at least we have something. At least we have something. We might not have everything we want or need, but at least what we have, we can be thankful for. Ilu Hotziyanu mi Mitzrayim, Hotziyanu mi Mitzrayim, Dayenu. Again. Ilu Hotziyanu mi Mitzrayim, Hotziyanu mi Mitzrayim, Dayenu. Dayenu. Sing with me. Dayenu. Dayenu. Dayenu, 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 Dayenu. Dayenu, 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 Ilu Hotziyanu. What's another Pesach song that we might know? Oh, I know. What's the song that all the kids sing together? Ma nishtana hala. Do you want to maybe mute that one? That's the one, beautiful. Ma nishtana halayla hazeh mikol haleilot. This night is different from all other nights. Mikol haleilot. Shebechol haleilot. Anu ochlim chametz umatzah. Chametz umatzah. Halayla hazeh, kulo matzah. Halayla hazeh, kulo matzah. Beautiful. Let's see another song that we know. I don't know the song on the list, that one. Okay. So now, how's your matzah doing? Do you want to take a quick peek? And see how you're going? I'm going to take a quick peek. Oh, I can see some brown spots on my matzah. That means it's baking. It's going well. Okay. One of the 10 plagues, here's a funny one. One of the 10 plagues in Egypt was that there were frogs everywhere. You know, frogs are quite cute to look at when they're in the pond, when there's one or two. But when there's frogs everywhere, in your bedroom, and in the kitchen, and in the dining room, and on the footpath, and wherever you go, that there's going to be frogs everywhere, that gets really, really, really annoying. Ribbit, 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 all day and all night. Do you think that would be annoying? I think so. And listen to this song. If you know it, sing along with me. One morning when Pharaoh woke in his bed, there were frogs on his head and frogs in his bed, frogs on his nose, frogs on his toes. What? Frogs here, frogs there, frogs were jumping everywhere. Let's do that one again. One morning when Pharaoh woke in his bed, there were frogs on his head, there were frogs in his bed, there were frogs on his nose, there were frogs on his toes, frogs here, frogs there, frogs were jumping everywhere. And you know what he said? He said, okay, Jews, you can leave, you can leave, you can leave if you stop the frogs. And what did Moshe say? Moshe said, okay, we're gonna make sure that Hashem stops this plague, but then you've got to let my people go. So the plague stopped, and guess what? Parai was so cruel, he changed his mind. And he said, no, 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 I will not let them go. No, 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 I will not let them go. So then there was another plague, and then another plague, and another plague. They got itchy on their skin, and there was big hailstones falling from heaven, and it got really dark, and there were all these plagues. And after each one, Paro said, no, 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 I will not let them go, until the very last one, where Paro saw that Hashem and Moshe was really, really serious, and some people were getting sick and not doing so well, and in the end he says, you can go, please go. And finally they left with a matzah on their backs. They left Egypt and they became free people, and we became Am Yisrael. We became the nation of Israel. We became the Jewish people, and along we went through the desert to Har Sinai, to Mount Sinai, to receive the Torah. And here we are, over 3,300 years ago, that's more than 3,000 years, remembering that story and reminding ourselves how important it is to be free, so we can serve Hashem, we can be good people, do lots of Torah mitzvot, and be the best we can be as Am Yisrael. And always remember to treat everybody equally and respectfully. How's your matzah doing? I'm going to check mine. Oh, yum, yum, yum. I think I'm going to pull mine out very carefully. And then, for the last few minutes of cooking, I'm going to leave to you and your adult, whoever's in your home with you. And then we'll say, have a lovely Sunday to each other, and we'll say thank you for joining us. So I'm going to take out my matzah. Oh, it's looking good. It needs a few more minutes. Whoa! Look at that! Mine is starting to look like a real matzah. Can you see all the bumpy spots and the little holes and the nice brownness? Let me see if I can get a bit closer. I've got two cameras here, so one for Facebook and one for Zoom. Here we go. The matzah's looking good. Is your matzah ready to come out? Leave it in the oven if it's not ready to come out yet. But, boys and girls, mums and dads, Bubba and Zaydas, thank you for joining us for our model matzah bakery. Usually we do it in the front garden of Shule, and we do it all together. But this year we can't, but we've still done it all together. We found a way to connect as a community, make matzah together, celebrate Pesach, and do it the way we're supposed to do it. So, next week on Wednesday, Wednesday night, I want you to have a beautiful Seder with your family and enjoy it. It might be a little bit different this year because some people won't be able to be there, but I still want you to be able to enjoy it and make the most of it, and enjoy your matzah and your grape juice, and have a delicious meal, and sing the Manishtana, and celebrate Am Yisrael, and celebrate being a free people. And being free means being responsible, doing lots of good things to make this world a better place. So, I hope you have a happy Sunday, and a really good week, and be healthy, and be happy. Look after yourselves and each other, and be the best people you can be. Have a good Sunday. We'll unmute everyone and we'll say bye-bye. Wait. Have a good day. Bye, everyone.